Something that we have talked a lot about, Ron, and obviously Waddle played with you as a teammate. I knew you when you first got out of the league, and you were always you were always very opinionated on how things should be done. So knowing you as a player and then as a head coach, Waddle and I, neither of us like the way the league is currently with training camp. And that's because it was collectively bargained that way. If you were to rip things up and make the Ron Rivera rules on how training camps and preseasons would go, how would you reconstruct a training camp these days? And do you agree with us that this is no way currently to get ready for a regular season?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either, because it's hard to really get your guys the right kind of work that they need. And they kind of work themselves into shape, as the season goes along. And I'd much rather see it where there was a little bit more contact, that guys were mandated that they had to play a certain amount or something in those first few preseason games, because, there's a little bit of a stat that's kind of come to light, and that is, teams that practice against each other during training camp, especially if they do it near the end of training camp, they tend to have fewer injuries in those first 4 weeks, those soft tissue injuries that pop up all the time. And so teams are starting to do that a little bit more, where they are practicing against one another, just so that, when the players start playing for real, they're not going from 0 to 60 all of a sudden. They're kind of ramped it up a couple of times, and that, they believe, is what's been helping a lot of these guys and keeping them from being injured.
How important is it to get a young quarterback, sort of like Caleb Williams, snaps in the preseason to make sure the young man is ready when the regular season gets here?
Well, whatever they can do to create as live a possible practice or game situation as possible, they got to do it. I was there in Carolina when we had the number 1 pick in Cam Newton, and that was one of the first things that we did. Rob Chudzinski, Mike Shula did an outstanding job of getting that young man ready to play for us. And, a big part of it was we played him as much as we could in the preseason. We created as many game-like situations as possible in practice to try and create that for him. And, Caleb is a young man that the more he gets, the better he's going to be sooner. He looks like he's got everything going for him. I like what they do on defense, and that's one of the things that's going to help a young quarterback, is to have a good quality defense, because, again, they can get field position. They can take that ball away and get them back out on the field and give them an opportunity to be successful on a short field. That helps. A good running game, that's another thing I think that they got to do, is just continue to run the ball. And, getting DeAndre Swift is a big, big move, because one thing that I've always believed is you got to have quality football players, playmakers around a young quarterback. And they did a great job this offseason collecting a couple of really good players in Keenan Allen and Everett, the tight end, to go with Kmet. I mean, I think that they did the kind of things that you need to do to, put your guy in position to have success early.
Ron Rivera joining us, former Bear. He coached Carolina, coached Washington. It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. To that point, Ron, Cam Newton threw for over 4,000 yards in his rookie season. I think he only did that one other time in his career. Besides playing him in the preseason, what did you learn about getting a quarterback up and going immediately and being a star?
Well, I think that it just kind of shows you that if you can protect your guy, you got to get him out there. And that's what we were able to do. We protected him. He built a little bit of confidence and had the rookie year that he had. He was NFL Rookie of the Year on offense. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I really do believe that, we really pushed to get him as many reps as we could in the preseason.
Do you think when they go to an 18-game schedule, Ron, that there is obviously going to be a 2-bye situation, so that it's not just an extra week, it'll be a 2-week addition to the current schedule?
Oh, I believe so. You're going to have to, because that's asking an awful lot of the body to put up with that kind of a pounding. It's just to play 18 games in a single season is other than playoffs. And think about that. You could potentially be a team that now is going to play 22 games.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a long season.
Recently, Montez Sweat did an interview, and we've talked to you about him in the past. You coached him in Washington. He told the story that he was very upset after he was told that he was traded, and that he went up to your office and basically cursed you out. Can you pick the story up from there?
He did, and he was disappointed, but believe me, that was honestly, that was not my idea. I did not want to trade him, but again, I just some things happen, unfortunately, and that's what happened. I mean, he's a heck of a young man, and I'm very happy for him. I mean, he got a huge deal, and then he went out and played it. He helped spark a resurgence on that defense, and as I said, he's going to be one of the best friends for that young quarterback. It's going to be a good defense.
Do you believe that was a blessing in disguise, not only for him but for the Bears?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt in my mind. Just because of the way he played. I mean, he's a young man that's gone out and played football and done things the right way, and in his own quiet way, he has led and done a nice job helped to lead that defense.
Hey, as we let you go, Ronnie, you mentioned a little bit, you kind of like what this Bears team has done across the board. Do you think they're pointed in the right direction?
I think so. The big key is obviously going to be the offensive line. I mean, if they could protect that quarterback, give him time, and let him do his thing, and they solidify their running game, that team has a chance to make some noise. I believe that. I really do. I like what Coach has done. I like what Ryan Poles has done. So hopefully the team is poised for a good year.
What was that like for you to see your friend not only get inducted into the Hall of Fame, but also it's got to be so eye-opening to walk into that house and to see Mongo, who was so strong, so boisterous in that state as well. It's got to be such a bittersweet thing to see.
It was, surreal just because of the fact, as you said, he's in the state that he is with ALS, not having the ability to move around and voice his opinion on things. I know that was one of the hardest things for all of us as well as him. I mean, here's a guy that, worked, gave his all to the game, finally reached the pinnacle of it, and doesn't get the opportunity to express the joy and love in which he accomplished that.
Hey, Ronnie, it's obviously, it's the ultimate team sport. It's the ultimate fraternity. And my guess is you guys in that room, you felt just as proud as Mongo felt, because being a teammate of his was unlike anything.
Oh, very much so. And the thing that was really amazing and really neat was just how emotional everybody got once they took the cover off the bust and we got a chance to take a look at that bust that's going to be enshrined forever. It was an amazing thing because they captured his likeness. They captured his personality in that statue. And you just sat there and thought, God, this is the ultimate for this guy.
Is it fair, Ron, to have kind of mixed emotions, like immensely happy and proud that Mongo finally received this honor, but this should have happened a long time ago, and that kind of still sits wrong with some people?
Oh, it does, because if you think about what he did, first and foremost, he played 14 years. He accumulated 95 sacks. Okay, he had 101 consecutive starts. He played in 192 consecutive games. I mean, that doesn't tell you he's an Iron Man. And then the guys around him, all right, he elevated them. He helped their play as well, and they got in. And they got in early. And this is a guy that should have been there enjoying it with them throughout that period of time, because just look at what he accomplished. Based on what I told you, that those are numbers that, believe me, that gets people into the Hall of Fame.
Ron, what do you think he would have said if he was of a healthy body and he was the Mongo that we all knew and loved, and this was his day? What do you think he would have said?
It's about effing time.
No doubt about it.
Spot on. That is spot on.
Without a doubt, just because, he's one of those guys that really tells you what's on his mind, and we all felt it. We all felt he deserved it because, I agreed with what Jared Payton said. This guy was the linchpin. I mean, he was the glue. He was a guy that did the dirty job. He's a guy that allowed those guys to play fast, play free. Believe me, I lined up behind him for about 6 years, and I made the plays I did because of guys like him, especially a guy like him.
We've asked a lot of guys their favorite Steve McMichael story. Do you have one? Jimbo's got the classic one where he basically beat the crap out of Mongo and he wasn't expecting it. But do you have a special moment?
I remember that one. But, for me personally, it was always just before the game. He would stand up in front of me and he would sit there and fix his uniform. And he'd look at me and I'd have to say, man, you're the damn best looking defensive lineman in the league. And he goes, you're damn right, Chief. Let's go win a football game.
And he pulled his shorts up unusually high.
I
don't know how that could have been comfortable.
No, you know why he did it? He wanted to make his legs look longer. He didn't like the fact that he was the shortest D lineman we had. So he would pull his pants up high, pull his socks all the way up to the top to give the illusion that he was 6'3".
That is fantastic. What else did you? I mean, you coached Julius Peppers as the head coach at the end of his career, and then you were here, obviously, as the defensive coordinator in Devin Hester's rookie year. So, what was the whole weekend like for you?
Well, I had to decline going to Canton so I could be with Steve. I talked with Jim Morrissey and a few other guys about being there for him, and we all wanted to be there. So I declined to go, but I was fortunate to have Julius there his last couple of years, and it was an honor to have him retire as a Panther, because that's where he started his career. So that was a great thing to have him there. Having the opportunity to watch Devin Hester become the player that he became, that was an amazing deal. It really was, because he was special and he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. And he's going to open it up for other special teams guys, especially a guy like Brian Mitchell.
Hey, Ron, what do how are you keeping yourself busy these days? I mean, this is going to be the first year you're not going to be on the sideline in quite some time.
It is, and one of the things that's happened is I got an opportunity. I'm going to be working with the NFL Network.
Oh, awesome.
I'll be doing stuff on the weekend and Mondays and potentially Tuesdays as well. So I'm kind of excited about that opportunity, and we'll see how it goes.